Today we're going to do misleading graphs and statistics, which in general are just misleading data. Misleading data are data that lead to a false perception. One way to present correct data so that it is misinterpreted. So this is a purposeful act. So one way to do it is to alter a scale or show only a certain segment of the results. All right, we're going to look at some. Now, don't write all this down. I want you to put the graphs I'm going to do over the next couple pages. Don't bother to write this in your notes. All right, here's the admission data for Old Country Water Park. We're going to create two graphs. Now, we're going to use the exact same numbers, but I'm going to show you how changing something just a little bit will make the graphs look completely differently. So the first graph we're going to make is a line graph of the data using a vertical scale from 500 to 530,000 with each unit equal to 5,000. So it's going to look, first let me copy this. Oops, didn't want to do that. Thank goodness for the undo function. Here's what it's going to look like. Each one of those little marks on the side is worth 5,000. So it starts at 500, it's going up to 530,000. And we're going to create a line graph using this data. All right. Our first point is that for May, 516,000, which would be about right here. And then June was 519,000, would be just below 520. July, just above 520, right about there. August was 523, right there. And September was at 525, right there. So that's, connect our dots. How would you characterize this graph? A gradual increase? Yeah, their numbers are going up gradually. Not a drastic increase. All right. So that's what it is. So we started at 5,000, went up to 530 on the scale, and each one went up 5,000. Now we're going to make a line graph of the same data. So here's that same data. But instead we're going to use a vertical scale from 515 to 527. So what am I doing? Yeah, what did I do with these numbers over here? Yeah, so and each unit's going to be equal to 2,000 now. So what am I really doing? I'm taking this scale and just looking at it from 515,000 to 527,000. So I'm only looking at that segment, aren't I? So it would be like looking at a picture and zooming in on it, correct? What's going to happen to the lines? The increase is going to look what? More drastic, because I'm zooming in on it. I'm only going to look at this section. Now these are all the same numbers. Let's plot them. 516. Now notice, that first one starts off a lot closer to the bottom than it did right there, didn't it? That's important. 519. We put those in. 519,000 would be right there. 521,000 right here. August is at 523 there, and September at 525 up there. And look what happens. What does it look like? Over the, using the same numbers, what's the difference in those two? The second one looks like the increase is what? Bigger. Looks like it's a bigger increase. So, my question to you is, if you're a manager planning to include a graph and a report for investors, which graph would you use? The second one, right? Why? Why would you use the second one? You want them to think your sales are higher. You look good, right? Makes you look better, and what might happen? Yeah, exactly. You get a raise. Exactly. Bigger paycheck. Second one makes attendance or sales look better. Enron did that, didn't they? A few years ago, they were cooking the books, so all those executives could get their huge bonuses, and hiding what their actual sales and their energy were, and eventually they got caught. So the problem is a lot of people had their retirement savings in the company. So when the company went bankrupt, they lost everything. They now have no retirement. Here's another thing that can be done. So when you're out looking for a job, Furniture World has 7 salespeople. The commissions they earned last week were $493, $283, $301, $299, $366, $304, and $299. The owner of the store places an ad in the paper for additional salespeople. So it says, earn an average weekly commission of $335. What keyword pops out at you when you look at that? Average, that's right. Right there. Which measure of central tendency does the owner use in the ad? Mean, average. The mean or the average. Does this ad have a fair picture of the salespeople's weekly commissions? No? Why not? I agree with you. Can anybody tell me why? Well, let's go back and look at all of their sales, or their weekly commissions. Yes, it would. $299, $299. I think there's one lower than that, isn't it? $283, okay. $283 was the lowest. $301, $304, and then there's quite a jump to $366 and $493. Now, because these are so much higher, what is it going to do to the average? Jack it up away from all of these, right? The average is right there at $335. Is that in the middle? No. Which number would have been in the middle? 301 or, yeah, 301. What number is this? That's the median. If we created a box and whisker plot, it would have looked something like this. And here's your number line, with 493 being all the way out here. What that tells me, if I look at this box and whisker plot, is the majority of the salespeople are right here. Only one or maybe two are way out there on the end. That throws off your average. Remember, we talked about when you use mean, you don't, if you use it when there are no extreme values. If there are extreme values, that's when you use median. So the median, 301, would have been a much more accurate, because the majority of those are actually down in this range, aren't they? Well, change it when this book was written. Change it to now, and it's just an example. And that's just, you know, within a couple $100. Which measure of central tendency? Well, we already answered that. Would have been the median. And you guys figured that out without me asking it. All right. Pages 36 and 37, 1 to 17 all.